There is a moment that arrives without warning, a moment so quiet that nobody else notices it, yet it changes everything. What if that moment is happening to you right now? What if the pain you thought was destroying your future is actually becoming the evidence that God is about to reveal His reality through your life? Before you decide that your story is over, before you convince yourself that the betrayal meant you were forgotten, before you let another tear become another reason to give up, listen carefully. This is not an ordinary message. You have cried in rooms where nobody heard you. You have smiled in front of people who secretly celebrated your struggles. You have carried wounds that never appeared on your skin, yet they exhausted your soul more than any physical battle ever could. People questioned your character, twisted your words, abandoned you when you needed them most, and acted as though your silence was proof that you deserved the pain. But what if your silence was never weakness? What if God was allowing every hidden chapter to prepare a revelation that no human being could deny? There are miracles that happen in public, and then there are miracles that begin in secret. Yours is beginning where nobody is applauding, where nobody is encouraging you, where even the people who promised to stand beside you have disappeared. Do not mistake this lonely season for God's absence. Sometimes He removes every voice around you because He is preparing one voice that will echo louder than every accusation ever spoken against you. The story people mocked will become the story they cannot explain. The life they dismissed will become undeniable evidence that God is real. One day, they will search for a logical reason behind your restoration and find none. They will look for the person who rescued you and discover there was no influential connection, no secret advantage, no lucky coincidence. They will have to face the truth that the same God they ignored reached into the darkest chapter of your life and rewrote it before their eyes. That is why you cannot surrender now. If you walk away in the middle of the process, you will never witness the moment when every unanswered question suddenly makes sense. Stay with God through the silence, through the confusion, through the tears that nobody understands. Because the chapter you are living today is not the final page. It is the beginning of a testimony so powerful that even those who doubted your future will have no choice but to admit that only God could have written your story. Have you ever wondered why the people who barely knew your heart seem so confident in judging your life? Why those who never carried your burdens spoke as if they understood your journey better than you did? They watched one chapter and believed they had read the entire book. They saw your delay and called it failure. They saw your tears and called them weakness. They saw your silence and assumed you had nothing left to say. What they never saw were the nights when you whispered desperate prayers with no audience except God. They never saw the battles that raged inside your mind while you fought to keep believing one more day. They never witnessed the moments when disappointment tried to convince you that your purpose had expired. They only saw the surface, but God never judged a life by its surface. He sees every hidden scar that no one else notices. He remembers every sacrifice that people forgot. He counts every tear that fell in secret, even the ones you wiped away before anyone could ask if you were hurting. Nothing has escaped His attention. Not one betrayal, not one broken promise, not one lonely walk through seasons where it felt as though the entire world had turned its back on you. The hardest battles are often the invisible ones. You can survive a storm everyone recognizes because people will at least acknowledge your struggle. But what do you do when your deepest battle exists only inside your heart? What do you do when you are smiling for everyone else while quietly wondering if your strength is running out? That kind of pain can convince a person they have been forgotten. It whispers dangerous lies. It tells you that your prayers are reaching an empty sky. It tells you that everyone else is moving forward while your life remains trapped in the same painful cycle. But those whispers are not the truth. The truth is that God often works where human eyes cannot see. Long before a seed breaks through the ground, it is already alive beneath the soil. Long before dawn paints the horizon, the darkness has already begun losing its battle against the coming light. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean nothing is happening. God specializes in invisible preparation because He knows that the strongest foundations are built where no one is watching. Think about the moments that almost broke you completely. The phone call that changed everything. The conversation that left your heart shattered. The betrayal that came from someone you defended. The opportunity that disappeared without explanation. The accusation that stained your reputation, even though you knew the truth. Those moments felt random to you, but they were never outside the reach of God's authority. He did not lose sight of you because life became painful. He did not abandon you because people became cruel. In fact, some of the greatest transformations begin exactly where human hope seems to end. God has a way of turning the very place where people expected your defeat into the place where His power becomes undeniable. He does not waste suffering. He does not ignore faithfulness. He does not overlook those who keep trusting Him even when every visible sign suggests they should quit. There is something remarkable about a person who continues to believe after the disappointment has knocked on the door again and again. That kind of faith cannot be manufactured through comfort. It is forged in silence. It is strengthened through endurance. Every time you refuse to let bitterness control your heart, even though you had every reason to become bitter, your character grew stronger. Every time you chose hope instead of despair, even when hope felt painfully small, you became someone capable of carrying a testimony that would inspire people you have never even met. The world celebrates people who appear strong from the beginning, but God often chooses those who know what it feels like to be completely emptied. Why? Because an empty heart has room to be filled with His strength instead of its own pride. Never believe the lie that your painful chapters have reduced your value. Diamonds are formed under pressure, not comfort. The tallest trees survive because their roots learn to grow deep during storms. Gold is refined by intense fire, not gentle breezes. In the same way, God is developing something within you that comfortable seasons could never produce. The patience you are learning today will carry you tomorrow. The compassion born from your own suffering will become healing for someone else's broken heart. The wisdom gained through tears will guide people who are standing where you once stood. One day someone will look into your eyes and ask, "How did you survive what should have destroyed you?" And your answer will not point to your own strength. It will point to God. That is why your story matters. It is becoming living evidence that when everything else failed, God remained faithful. When everyone else walked away, God stayed. When every human solution collapsed, God was still writing a future that no disappointment, betrayal, or false accusation could erase. There is a reason the enemy wanted your voice buried beneath disappointment. There is a reason confusion surrounded your path just when you were beginning to believe again. There is a reason people try to convince you that your dreams were unrealistic, that your prayers were pointless, and that your faith would eventually collapse under the weight of disappointment. It was never simply about making you feel discouraged. It was about preventing the story that God is writing through your life from ever being told. Because once your story is complete, it will become impossible for many people to deny what God has done. Think about it. If your life had always been easy, people would credit your talent. If every door had opened without resistance, they would praise your opportunities. If you had never fallen, they would assume your success was the result of your own ability. But God allowed you to walk through valleys that stripped away every human explanation. He allowed seasons where your strength could not carry you, your intelligence could not rescue you, and your connections could not change your circumstances. Why? Because when He lifts you, no one will be able to say you achieved it alone. Your restoration will carry the unmistakable signature of God. You have probably asked questions that never left your lips. Why did this happen to me? Why did the people I loved become the source of my deepest wounds? Why did the doors I prayed for suddenly close? Why did I have to lose so much just to keep moving forward? Those questions are real, and God is not offended by them. He knows the weight you have been carrying. He knows the moments when your heart became so tired that even praying felt difficult. He knows the silent battles where your greatest struggle was not against people, but against the temptation to believe that nothing would ever change. Yet even while those questions remained unanswered, God never stopped working. He was arranging moments you could not yet see, protecting you from dangers you never recognized, closing paths that would have destroyed your peace, and preparing opportunities that were impossible before your character had been refined through hardship. Sometimes the greatest act of God's mercy is not giving you what you asked for immediately, but shaping you into the person who can carry the blessing without losing your soul. Do not measure God's faithfulness by the speed of your breakthrough. Measure it by the fact that you are still standing after everything that tried to destroy you. You should have been consumed by bitterness, but somehow your heart still longs for hope. You should have become cold after the betrayals you endured, but somewhere deep inside, you still believe that goodness is possible. You should have stopped praying after all the delays. Yet something keeps pulling you back toward God. That is not an accident. That quiet determination inside you is evidence that God has never released His grip on your life. Even when your faith felt small, His faithfulness remained immeasurable. Even when your strength disappeared, His power continued to sustain you in ways you could not explain. There were days when you thought you were carrying yourself, but later you realized you had been carried all along. One day, you will look back at this season with different eyes. The nights that now feel endless will become reminders of how faithfully God sustained you. The people who rejected you will no longer define your identity, because you will understand that their rejection redirected you toward a purpose they could never have imagined. The disappointments that once felt unbearable will reveal themselves as turning points that kept you from settling for less than God's plan. Your scars will no longer speak of defeat. They will speak of survival. Your tears will no longer represent despair. They will represent the price of becoming someone whose life cannot be explained by coincidence. And when someone asks, how you found the strength to keep walking after everything you lost, your answer will not glorify your endurance. It will glorify God, because you will know with absolute certainty that every step forward was made possible by His unseen hand, guiding you through the darkness until the light finally broke through. There is a day coming when the people who dismiss your faith will become silent, not because you argued with them, not because you finally found the perfect words to defend yourself, but because your life itself will become an answer they cannot debate. Right now, some people only remember the version of you that was wounded, confused, overlooked, or struggling to breathe beneath the weight of disappointment. They think your present condition is your permanent identity. They have already decided how your story ends, and they speak about your future as though they hold the pen. But they have forgotten one truth that changes everything. No human being has the authority to write the final chapter of a life that belongs to God. The same mouths that questioned your purpose will one day search for an explanation they cannot find. They will remember how impossible your situation looked. They will remember how certain they were that you would never recover. They will remember the day they counted you out. And then they will look at what God has done and realize that no amount of human reasoning can explain a transformation that carries His fingerprints. Do not waste your strength trying to convince people who have already chosen disbelief. Some hearts refuse evidence until they are forced to witness it. God has never needed endless arguments to reveal His reality. He has always been able to speak through changed lives. That is why your greatest response to rejection is not revenge. It is becoming living evidence of His faithfulness. Let people underestimate you while God is rebuilding you. Let them assume you have been forgotten while He is preparing opportunities beyond anything they imagined. Let them believe your silence means defeat, while heaven is quietly arranging the moment your testimony will speak louder than every accusation ever made against you. There is extraordinary power in refusing to interrupt God's process with the desperate need for immediate validation. Every moment you spend chasing people's approval is a moment stolen from the work God is accomplishing within your heart. He is shaping patience where frustration once lived. He is creating wisdom where pain once ruled. He is replacing fear with quiet confidence that no longer depends on applause or acceptance. Think about how differently you see life now compared to the person you were before the heartbreak. The old version of you trusted too quickly. The old version believed every promise, expected loyalty from everyone, and thought good intentions alone could protect you from disappointment. But suffering became a teacher that comfort could never be. It taught you to recognize what truly matters. It taught you that character is revealed under pressure, not during celebration. It taught you that some doors close because God is protecting you from futures that would have drained your peace instead of fulfilling your purpose. You may never have chosen this painful classroom, but the lessons as it has written into your heart are becoming priceless. They are preparing you to carry blessings without becoming careless, influence without becoming proud, and success without forgetting the God who sustained you when nobody else believed you would survive. There will come a moment when you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And begin asking, why did God preserve me through it? That question changes everything. Because if the only purpose of your life were comfort, you would never have endured the battles that almost broke you. but you are still here. Think about that for a moment. You are still breathing after the nights you thought your heart could not carry another disappointment. You are still standing after betrayals that should have shattered your confidence. You are still believing, even if your faith feels smaller than it once did. That is not because you are stronger than everyone else. It is because God refused to let your story end where your pain wanted it to end. Every attack against your peace had one objective: to make you quit before the miracle became visible. Every lie spoken against your name was designed to make you question the identity God had already placed within you. Every delay whispered the same message: give up now, nothing is changing. But the voice of despair has never been the voice of God. His voice calls you forward even when the road is hidden. His promises remain steady even when your emotions are shaking. His faithfulness does not disappear simply because your circumstances have become difficult. Never forget that the greatest victories often begin in seasons that look like complete defeat. A sculptor does not reveal a masterpiece by adding more stone. He reveals it by removing everything that does not belong. In the same way, God has been removing things from your life that once felt essential, but were never meant to remain. Some relationships disappeared because they were attached to a version of you that could never fulfill your purpose. Some opportunities ended because success at the wrong time would have distracted you from becoming the person you needed to be. Some plans collapsed because they were too small for the future God was preparing. It hurts when something familiar is taken away. It hurts when doors close without explanation. But what feels like loss today may become the very reason you will one day thank God with tears of gratitude. You cannot always recognize protection while it is happening. Sometimes protection feels like disappointment until time reveals what God was shielding you from. That is why you must guard your heart against the temptation to define your life by what you have lost. The world counts losses and calls them failure. God counts endurance and calls it preparation. The world celebrates visible success. God values transformed character. The world asks, how much have you gained? God asks, who have you become? Those are completely different questions, and they produce completely different lives. If you only measure your journey by possessions, recognition, or immediate results, you will miss the deeper miracle taking place within you. The greatest evidence of God's work is not always the opening of a new door. Sometimes it is the peace He gives you while the door remains closed. Sometimes it is the courage to forgive when revenge feels justified. Sometimes it is the strength to keep serving, loving, and believing after disappointment has tested every part of your heart. That quiet transformation cannot be purchased, copied, or manufactured. It is formed only through walking with God when no one else understands what He is doing. Do not underestimate what your survival is already saying to the people around you. There are individuals watching your life from a distance who expected bitterness to consume you. They expected your smile to disappear forever. They expected your faith to collapse beneath the weight of unanswered questions. Yet, every day you continue moving forward, even with trembling steps. You challenge the hopelessness they have accepted as normal. They may never admit it aloud, but your perseverance is already asking them a question they cannot escape. How is this person still standing? They cannot see the conversations you have with God when no one else is present. They cannot see the moments when He strengthens your heart just enough to take one more step. They only see the result. And little by little, your life begins to reveal something beyond human determination. It reveals a sustaining power that cannot be explained by personality, talent, or luck. That is how God often works. He turns ordinary people with extraordinary scars into living testimonies that quietly dismantle doubt without shouting a single word. So refuse to believe that your broken chapters have ruined your story. They have given it depth. Refuse to believe that your tears have weakened your future. They have softened your heart in ways pride never could. Refuse to believe that the false accusations, lonely seasons, and painful disappointments were meaningless interruptions. God wastes nothing that is placed in His hands. He is weaving every disappointment into a testimony, every rejection into a redirection, every delay into a preparation, and every wound into a reminder that His power is greatest where human strength reaches its limit. One day, someone who has completely lost hope will hear your story. They will recognize their own pain in your words. They will see their own fears reflected in your past. Then they will witness what God brought you through, and something inside them will awaken again. They will realize that if God could restore a life as broken as yours once seemed, then perhaps He has not forgotten them either. That is the purpose hidden inside your struggle. Your story was never meant to end in defeat. It was always destined to become undeniable evidence that God is real, that He is faithful in every season, and that no darkness is deep enough to extinguish the future. He has already begun writing for those who refuse to let go of Him. The most dangerous moment in your journey is not when people walk away. It is not when doors close. It is not even when your heart is carrying more questions than answers. The most dangerous moment is when disappointment quietly convinces you that nothing meaningful is happening anymore. That lie has stolen more destinies than failure ever could. It does not arrive with loud announcements. It slips into your thoughts after another unanswered prayer, after another opportunity disappears, after another person breaks a promise. It whispers, nothing will ever change. This is all your life will be. But listen carefully. God has never needed visible circumstances to begin an invisible miracle. Before a river carves through a mountain, the water flows where no one notices. Before a mighty tree rises toward the sky, its roots spend years growing in darkness. In the same way, God is accomplishing work beneath the surface of your life that no human eye can measure. The silence you are living in is not proof that He has stopped moving. It may be proof that He is building something too deep to be rushed. There are battles you lost that were never meant to be won because they would have distracted you from the war that truly matters. Think about the relationships you begged God to preserve, only to watch them fall apart. Think about the plans you fought to keep alive, only to see them collapse in front of you. At the time, it felt unbearable. You wondered whether God had ignored your cries. But now ask yourself this question. If every one of your prayers had been answered exactly as you requested, would you have become the person you are today? Or would you still be chasing people who never valued you, still depending on doors that were too small for your purpose, still placing your confidence in things that could disappear overnight? Sometimes God's greatest mercy is found in the prayers. He answers differently than we expected. He sees endings that your limited vision mistakes for disasters, while He already sees beginnings that you cannot yet imagine. What feels like rejection from your perspective may actually be divine redirection. What feels like delay may actually be protection. What feels like loss may become the foundation of a future so much greater that one day you will look back with tears of gratitude instead of tears of confusion. Never allow your pain to become the lens through which you interpret God's character. Pain has a way of distorting perspective. It makes temporary seasons feel permanent. It makes closed doors seem final. It makes loneliness feel like abandonment. But feelings, no matter how intense, are not always reliable guides to reality. God's faithfulness is not measured by your emotions on any given day. His faithfulness remains constant, whether your heart feels strong or weak. There were mornings when you woke up exhausted before the day even began, yet somehow you found enough strength to keep moving. There were nights when fear tried to convince you that tomorrow held nothing worth hoping for, yet dawn still arrived. There were moments when you believed your spirit had reached its absolute limit, yet God quietly gave you enough grace for one more step, then another, then another. Looking back, you realize you did not survive because you possessed extraordinary strength. You survived because God's hand never released you, even when your own grip on hope felt like it was slipping away. One day, your testimony will not simply be about what God gave you. It will be about who He transformed you into. People often expect miracles to arrive as sudden changes in circumstances, but some of God's greatest miracles happen within the human heart. The person who once needed everyone's approval discovers peace in God's acceptance. The person who once lived in constant fear begins walking with quiet confidence. The one who was crushed by betrayal learns to trust God without allowing bitterness to poison the future. That transformation cannot be explained by positive thinking or human determination alone. It is the quiet work of God reshaping a life from the inside out. And when others witness that change, they begin to realize that something greater than human resilience has been at work. They see a peace that should not exist after so much heartbreak. They see compassion where anger would have been understandable. They see hope where despair once seemed inevitable. Your changed heart will become as powerful a testimony as any visible blessing because it reveals the kind of work only God can accomplish. So keep walking, even if today's step feels smaller than yesterday's. Keep believing, even if your faith feels as fragile as a flickering flame in the wind. Keep speaking to God, even when the silence seems longer than the answers. Do not let the unfinished chapter convince you that the author has abandoned the story. Every page has purpose. Every tear has been seen. Every delay has meaning, even when you cannot yet understand it. The God who carried you through betrayal will also carry you into restoration. The God who strengthened you in hidden places will reveal His faithfulness at the appointed time. And when that day arrives, your life will not merely inspire admiration, it will awaken belief. Those who once searched for reasons to doubt will encounter a story that defies coincidence. Those who believed your life was over will witness a future they never imagined possible. And you will stand with humble confidence, knowing that your greatest achievement was never proving your own strength. It was allowing God to write a story so extraordinary, so authentic, and so impossible to explain by human effort alone, that every chapter points unmistakably to one unchanging truth. God is real, God is faithful, and He never abandons the life that remains in His hands. Do not leave this moment the same way you entered it. Do not close your heart because people closed their doors. Do not bury your faith because someone buried your reputation. Do not let the voices that wounded you become louder than the voice of the God who created you. They may remember your failures, but God remembers His purpose. They may define you by your worst season, but God sees the finished story. They may look at your scars and assume they are evidence that you were defeated, but God is preparing to reveal that those very scars became the places where His faithfulness shined the brightest. You have spent enough time believing that your life was nothing more than a collection of painful chapters. It is time to see it differently. Every delay, every rejection, every lonely night, every tear that fell, when no one was watching, has been gathered into the hands of a God who wastes nothing. He is not writing a story of permanent defeat. He is writing a testimony that will outlive your pain, outlast your critics, and outshine every lie ever spoken against you. One day, someone standing where you once stood will hear your story. They will recognize the heartbreak. They will understand the loneliness. They will know what it feels like to be misunderstood, falsely accused, abandoned, and left wondering whether God still sees them. Then they will discover what God did in your life. They will see that you were not rescued because you were the strongest person in the room. You were restored because God remained faithful when everything else failed. Your story will become the answer to someone else's desperate prayer. Your survival will become someone else's reason to keep believing. Your restoration will become undeniable evidence that no darkness is greater than God's power, no betrayal is stronger than His purpose, no rejection can cancel His plan, and no broken chapter can stop Him from writing a beautiful ending. So lift your head. Wipe away the tears that told you it was over. Refuse to surrender to hopelessness one more day. The same God who carried you through the valley is leading you toward a future that will leave even your enemies searching for an explanation. The same God who protected your life when you could not protect yourself is still directing every step you take. Trust Him when you cannot trace Him. Stand firm when your emotions tell you to run. Keep praying when heaven seems silent. Keep believing when the evidence is invisible. Keep walking when the road feels lonely. Because the greatest chapter of your life has never belonged to the people who betrayed you. It has always belonged to God. And when the day finally comes, when the doors open that no human being could unlock, when peace replaces the pain that once haunted your nights, when joy rises from the ashes of everything you thought you had lost, you will not need to convince anyone that God is real. Your life will do it. Your transformation will do it. Your peace will do it. Your courage will do it. Your restored heart will do it. Every impossible victory, every healed wound, every unexpected breakthrough will speak with a voice louder than words ever could. The world will search for another explanation, but there will be none. They will see a life that should have been destroyed, yet was restored. They will see a person who should have remained broken, yet now walks in strength. They will see hope where despair once ruled. They will see light where darkness tried to reign. And whether they admit it immediately or not, your story will leave them face to face with a truth that cannot be ignored. God never abandoned you. God never stopped working. And God used every chapter of your life to prove that He is real. Listen to me very closely. What if I told you that God is about to fill your bank account, and not by chance, not by luck, not by the hands of men, but by divine orchestration? What if I told you that the same God who created gold, silver, and every resource under heaven has already decided to transfer wealth into your hands. Many hear these words and doubt. They say, it's impossible. I have nothing. I am surrounded by debt. I am far from abundance. But I tell you today, when God is ready to move, nothing on earth or in hell can stop him. When God speaks increase, the universe rearranges itself to obey. You are about to witness the supernatural hand of God turning your lack into overflow, your emptiness into abundance, your despair into laughter. God is about to fill your bank account, not just to bless you, but to prove that He is still the provider of all who trust in Him. The power to create wealth does not come from human skill, it comes from God. Many people work endlessly, yet remain in lack because they rely only on their effort. But when the favor of God touches your work, what you earn multiplies beyond the logic. God can bless one decision, one meeting, one opportunity so powerfully that it wipes away years of struggle. This is how God moves, suddenly, unexpectedly, and overwhelmingly. You may be in a season where it feels like everything is still, like nothing is working, but don't be deceived by silence. God works most in the unseen. He is preparing doors of wealth, partnerships of purpose, and miracles of provision that will shock even you. You will stand and say, this is not the work of my hand, this is the work of God. Do not limit God with your imagination. He does not operate within the boundaries of your salary, your job title, or your education. When God decides to bless, He breaks systems to favor His chosen ones. He will use people who once ignored you to bring resources into your life. He will cause the hearts of kings to remember your name. God has placed you in divine alignment with opportunities that have been waiting for your arrival. You think you are late, but you are right on time. There is no such thing as delay when you walk under God's divine timing. The wealth that belongs to you is stored in heaven's account, and God is about to release it into your hands. But before God fills your bank account, He must first fill your mind. You cannot hold the divine wealth with a fearful mind. Poverty is not only a condition, it is a mindset. Many pray for increase but think in scarcity. They ask for abundance while doubting whether they deserve it. God cannot pour into a vessel that rejects His gift. That is why He is renewing your thoughts first. He is teaching you to see money not as an idol, but as an instrument of purpose. When your heart aligns with His purpose, your hands will attract everything you need. Money will no longer control you. It will serve your destiny. There are moments in life when God decides to accelerate everything. You will look around and see that doors once locked have swung open. You will witness divine speed that others cannot explain. It will not be because of luck or strategy. It will be because God has marked you for divine wealth. When that happens, stay humble. Do not forget that it was not your power that produced it. It was God's favor. God gives to those who remember Him in plenty, not only in need. That is why the truly wealthy in spirit are always grateful, always giving, always aware that they are merely stewards of divine resources. Listen carefully. Wealth is a tool in the hands of those who understand divine purpose. God does not bless you just so you can live in luxury. He blesses you so you can expand His goodness on the earth. When your heart says, God, whatever you give me, I will use for good, heaven responds. Because the heart that gives without pride will never run dry. God is about to fill your bank account because He trusts that you will not worship the blessing, but the one who gives it. He knows you have walked through seasons of lack without cursing him. He has seen you honor him with a little, and now he is ready to trust you with much. When God blesses, he blesses beyond measure. Look at the stars, they are countless. Look at the ocean, it overflows. When God gives, he never gives in portions. He gives in abundance. So why do you expect small miracles? Lift your faith to match the size of God. Stop praying as if you are asking a reluctant giver. God does not struggle to bless his children. He delights in it. He is not calculating whether he can afford to help you. He owns everything. When you understand that your source is unlimited, your fear of shortage disappears. God's wealth does not arrive through greed. It arrives through obedience. Some people chase money and lose themselves. Others chase God and find wealth chasing them. That is the divine order. Seek God's will first, and the resources will come naturally. God never leaves his obedient children empty-handed. Every time you choose integrity over shortcuts, you store treasure in heaven that will manifest on earth. Every time you give, even when it hurts, you prove that your faith is greater than your fear. These moments unlock the flow of divine wealth. You may ask, how can God fill my bank account when everything around me looks dry? My friend, remember this, God specializes in filling emptiness. He multiplies from nothing. He took darkness and created light. He took dust and formed humanity. So, what makes you think he cannot take your small savings, your little effort, your empty account, and transform it into overflow? God does not need much to do much. He only needs your faith. When you believe that he can, heaven begins to move. Faith is the currency of the divine economy. The more you trust, the more you attract. You may have been in a season of testing. Every bill felt heavier. Every delay felt painful. But God was not punishing you. He was preparing you. Before he fills your account, he strengthens your character. Because if your heart is not ready for abundance, wealth becomes a trap. God's process is always protective. He's refining you through hardship so that when the blessing comes, it will not destroy you. Many want the glory without the growth, but God is too wise to give blessings that break you. So if you are still waiting, rejoice. Your preparation is a sign that the blessing is near. There will be a moment, and it will come soon, when you wake up and realize that the struggle has ended. Your debt will disappear. Your business will multiply, and your name will be spoken in rooms of opportunity you never entered. This is how God elevates his faithful ones. You will not need to fight for recognition. God himself will endorse you. The right people will find you. The right doors will open. And the right opportunities will flow toward you without force. This is divine wealth transfer when God moves resources from the hands of the ungodly to the righteous. He is aligning the earth right now for that transfer, and your name is written in that plan. When God fills your bank account, do not hide your testimony. Speak boldly of his faithfulness, because every story of abundance is a seed of hope for someone still struggling. Your success is not just about you, it's about the people God will bless through you. You are about to become a vessel of provision for others. You will feed families, support communities, build dreams, and fund visions. God is giving you wealth not to make you proud, but to make you powerful for good. You will be the answer to the prayers of many. But remember this truth: wealth without wisdom is waste. God's blessings require stewardship. When He fills your bank account, ask Him for guidance on how to use it. Not every opportunity deserves your investment. Not every request deserves your money. Divine wealth is meant to multiply when directed by divine instruction. If you manage it wisely, it will grow beyond generations. You will not only be blessed, you will establish a legacy of provision that your children and their children will walk in. Do not be surprised when people begin to notice the change in your life. They will wonder how it happened. They will question your methods, but you will know it was God. It was His favor that opened doors, His mercy that covered mistakes, His plan that orchestrated every divine connection. Stay humble, for humility keeps the flow of wealth alive. Pride stops blessing. Gratitude multiplies them. Each time you thank God for what you have, you make room for more. Even now, God is arranging things in your favor. There are contracts waiting to be signed, accounts ready to be credited, ideas waiting to be funded. You may not see it yet, but heaven is not silent. The spiritual transaction has already taken place. It is only a matter of time before it manifests in your reality. You must continue to declare, God is my source. My account will overflow because God has spoken increase over my life. Keep speaking it, because your words create the environment for miracles. What you confess consistently becomes your experience. Some of you are worried because you have made financial mistakes in the past. You think that because you failed before, you have lost your chance. But God does not operate by human records. His mercy rewrites your story. What you lost, He can restore in double measure. Do not let guilt make you believe that you are disqualified. If anything, your failures have qualified you to handle success with wisdom. God is the master of restoration. He specializes in giving people more than they lost. When you begin to see signs of divine increase, don't slow down your faith. This is the time to trust even deeper, because when God opens the floodgates, your faith must expand to receive it. Do not be afraid of big numbers. Do not doubt your capacity to manage abundance. God would not fill your account if He had not already expanded your spirit to handle it. He keeps before He delivers. He strengthens before He supplies. The days of survival are ending. You are moving into a season of surplus. What once drained you will now bless you. The same work that once barely sustained you will now overflow with profit. People who used to pity you will look to you for wisdom. God is rewriting your financial destiny. You are no longer the borrower. You are becoming the lender. You will no longer chase after opportunities. They will chase after you. God is placing a divine mark of abundance upon your life. You must understand that when God fills your bank account, it is not just about numbers. It is about influence. Wealth keeps your voice in places that would otherwise ignore you. God is about to position you in places of impact. Your generosity will shift systems, your ideas will change economies, and your giving will become a form of worship. God is raising you not just as a recipient of wealth, but as a distributor of it. You see, when God decides to lift a person, no force on earth can pull them down. When God declares increase over your life, even the systems designed to keep you poor will begin to favor you. This is how divine wealth operates. It does not need permission from the world to manifest. It flows directly from the authority of God. Some of you have been overlooked for too long. You have been faithful. You have worked hard. You have prayed, and yet it felt as if nothing was changing. But I tell you, the season of silence was never punishment. It was preparation. God was aligning the right circumstances so that when the blessing comes, you will not lose it. He was teaching you endurance, integrity, and discipline, because these are the foundation that hold the true wealth. God never pours His abundance into a heart that still doubts His faithfulness. That is why He allowed certain delays to build your faith until it could sustain what He is about to release. Many people collapse under the weight of blessings they were not ready for. But you, yes, you have been trained in the fire. Every disappointment was a lesson. Every loss was a setup for gain. Every night you cried was watering the seeds of your harvest. And now, the ground is fertile. The harvest is near. The wind of divine provision is blowing toward you, and it carries your name on it. The wealth that God is about to release into your hand is not just for comfort, it is for calling. God blesses people not so they can boast, but so they can build. You are about to become an instrument of transformation. Your prosperity will be the proof that faith works. Your abundance will silence the mockery of those who said you would never rise. God is not filling your account merely to add the numbers, but to add the influence, to add the reach, to add the impact. You will finance visions. You will lift others. You will open doors for those who had no key. That is the true purpose of wealth, to serve the divine will of God on earth. Many think that wealth is evil, but the truth is this: wealth in the wrong hands is dangerous, but wealth in the hands of the righteous is divine power. God is raising a generation that will hold wealth without worshiping it, that will use money as a servant and not as a master. He is calling you to that level, to rise beyond survival into stewardship. When you manage what you have with faithfulness, God multiplies it. That is why the little you have now is not insignificant, it is a seed. When you sow it in obedience, it becomes the doorway to the overflow. Hear this clearly. Poverty is not God's design for your life. Scarcity is not your destiny. God does not delight in watching you beg for what He already prepared for you. You were created to walk in divine abundance, to manifest the fullness of His provision. Everything on earth belongs to God, and you are His creation. Why then would He withhold what is His from you? The delay you have faced is not a denial. It is divine timing. God gives at the appointed time, not when your fear demands it, but when your spirit is mature enough to receive it. Some of you are about to experience financial miracles that defy logic. Money will appear from unexpected places. Debts will be canceled without reason. Contracts you forgot will resurface with greater rewards. You will receive calls that change your financial destiny overnight. This is not fantasy, it is the manifestation of divine favor. When God decides to reward the faithful, He does it in ways that human minds cannot calculate. He will use strangers, system, and circumstances to serve your destiny. You will stand in awe and say, "This is the doing of God." But listen, the moment you begin to receive, never let pride enter your heart. Remember the source. Gratitude is the magnet that keeps blessings flowing. The more thankful you are, the more God entrusts to you. Thank Him not only for what you see, but for what you are expecting. Gratitude is faith in action. It declares that you already believe the promise before you see it fulfilled. And when your gratitude rises like incense to heaven, God releases more. Some of you have been taught to fear money. You were told that wanting abundance is wrong. But let me tell you, desiring the manifestation of God's blessing is not greed. It is alignment. God placed the vision of prosperity in your heart because He wants you to live in provision, not in lack. The enemy uses poverty to humiliate, to limit, to silence the faithful. But God uses wealth to empower, to expand, to glorify His name through your success. Do not apologize for expecting more. You are not asking too much. You are asking the right source. The wealth that is coming will not corrupt you because God has already purified your motives. You no longer desire money for vanity. You desire it for purpose. That is why you are chosen for this divine transfer. God will not give wealth to those who use it to oppress others. He will give it to those who will use it to uplift others. Your increase will become an answer to prayers you have not even heard. You will bless those who never expected help. You will become the channel of divine kindness. When God begins to fill your account, there will be distraction. People will appear to test your character. Some will flatter you, others will envy you. But do not lose your peace. Protect your spirit, because what God gives must be guarded. Wealth without spiritual grounding becomes weakness, but wealth anchored in faith becomes strength. Stay centered in humility. Speak to God daily about your direction. Seek His wisdom in every transaction, because divine wisdom is the greatest wealth. Without it, even gold becomes dust. And let me tell you this truth. Divine wealth is not limited to money. When God fills your account, He fills every area of peace in your home, strength in your body, clarity in your mind, and joy in your spirit. True wealth is the balance of provision and peace. What good is money if your heart is restless? What value is profit if your mind is burdened? God's blessings come with harmony. When He blesses you, He removes sorrow from the equation. Your wealth will not be the kind that torments you. It will be the kind that uplifts you. You are entering the season where what you touch will prosper. You will look at your work and see multiplication. You will see fruit where there was once barrenness. You will start projects that attract divine speed. It will not be normal. It will be supernatural. God will breathe upon your ideas, and they will come alive. The same hand that once struggled to survive will now distribute abundance. You will become a fountain that never runs dry. There will be moments when you will not even understand how it happened. The blessings will come so quickly, you will be in awe. But that is how God moves. He accelerates when the time is right. He will redeem lost years through one breakthrough. You thought you lost time, but God is about to compress decades of blessings into one divine moment. What took others a lifetime will come to you in a single season, because God has remembered you. And when it happens, remain generous. The more you give, the more you grow. Wealth dies when it is held, but multiplies when it is shared. Every act of generosity opens another door of divine supply. Give freely, not out of obligation, but out of revelation that everything you own belongs to God. You are merely the vessel He chose to carry His abundance. When you live like that, you will never lack, because a vessel that keeps flowing can never be empty. You must also understand that divine wealth comes with divine responsibility. God will begin to use you to solve problems around you. You will see need that others ignore, and your heart will burn to act. That is not coincidence. It is divine assignment. Every burden you feel for the broken, the poor, the helpless, it is a signal that God is about to use you to bring relief. He fills your bank account so you can fill the lives of others. This is how His blessings multiply across the earth. So rise in faith. Begin to see yourself as God sees you, not as a struggler, but as a steward of divine prosperity. Speak boldly about what you believe. Declare that your account is blessed, your hands are favored, your path is prosperous. Words shape reality. When you align your speech with faith, your circumstances begin to obey. Stop saying, I am broke. Stop saying, I can. Every negative word is a withdrawal from your spiritual account. Start making deposits of faith through your declarations. Say, God is my provider. My account overflows. My work is blessed. My doors are open. The more you speak it, the faster it manifests. You are about to witness what happens when heaven partners with your obedience. God is bringing divine partnerships, investors, ideas, and mentors your way. Do not fear the new connections. God is orchestrating them for your increase. There are people assigned to your prosperity. Some of them you will meet by accident, but in truth, it will be divine design. Every encounter is part of the greater plan. God's timing is perfect. You may think it's late, but to God, it is always on schedule. The blessing delayed is not the blessing denied. It is simply being refined, prepared, multiplied. When it comes, it will make sense why it took time. The waiting will no longer hurt because the reward will heal every wound. You will look back and realize that every struggle was worth it. Do you know why God sometimes waits before releasing abundance? Because He wants you to understand that true wealth begins in the unseen. Before money ever reaches your account, it must first enter your mind and your heart. The richest people in spirit are not those with gold in their hands, but those with faith in their souls. God is teaching you to think like a steward, not a survivor. He is teaching you to speak like someone who already possesses abundance. Because when your thoughts align with the divine truth, your reality has no choice but to follow. You cannot walk in overflow while thinking in limitation. You cannot attract divine wealth while entertaining fear. Faith is the gateway through which God's blessings flow. And that faith must live in your daily decisions, not only in your prayers. There is a divine law that governs increase. God multiplies what is placed in His hands. If you hold tightly to what you have, it remains small. But if you release it with trust, it becomes multiplied. God's economy does not operate by logic, it operates by faith. When you give, you are not losing, you are planting. Every act of generosity becomes a seed in the soil of heaven. And when heaven's rain falls, the harvest that returns is always greater than what was sown. That is why many miss their miracle. They try to store what they should be sowing. God is not asking you to give because He needs your money. He asks because He wants to enlarge your capacity. Every time you let go in faith, you make room for more. There will come a time, and it is soon, when you will see that every season of lack was a test of trust. God does not test you to destroy you. He tests you to prepare you. Every financial storm you faced was training for the abundance to come. You learned to depend on God when nothing else worked. You learned to see beyond numbers and believe beyond region. That is the kind of faith that heaven responds to. God never ignores faith that refuses to quit. Your prayers have not gone unheard. The silence you felt was not absence, it was construction. God was building your foundation, setting your structure, aligning your path. He cannot pour new blessings into a weak vessel. He had to strengthen you first. Now that your heart has been purified, you are ready to receive what others cannot handle. God is not giving you temporary success. He is giving you sustainable prosperity. Temporary wealth fades, but divine wealth endures. The riches God provides are protected by His wisdom. He gives you not only increase, but the discernment to manage it. That is why your growth may have seemed slow. It is because God was anchoring you deeply, so that when the storm of abundance comes, you will not be uprooted by pride. Every delay was a shield, not a punishment. Every no was protection from what would have hurt you. God's wait is never rejection. It is divine timing preparing to surprise you with more than you expected. Listen closely, there is a shift happening. You may not see it with your eyes yet, but it has already begun in the spirit. Doors that were locked are turning on their hinges. Ideas that were buried are resurfacing with greater clarity. You will wake up one morning and everything will make sense. The connections, the hardships, the lessons, they were all pieces of a larger puzzle. When God completes the picture, you will see how every struggle was necessary. Because divine wealth is not just about what you have, it's about who you become while receiving it. Some of you are afraid of wealth because you've seen what greed can do. But when God blesses you, He blesses your intentions along with your possessions. You will not fall into arrogance or vanity because your heart will stay anchored in gratitude. You will see money as a means, not a master. You will understand that wealth is not your identity. It is your responsibility. God blesses the humble because they remember that everything belongs to Him. When you hold wealth loosely, He keeps refilling your hands. When you cling to it tightly, it slips away. So keep your palms open. Let generosity be your rhythm. Let kindness be your signature. Because the more you flow, the more you grow. I want you to understand something very deep. Divine wealth is not earned, it is entrusted. It is not the result of your worthiness, but of God's purpose. God chooses to bless you not because you are perfect, but because He wants to reveal His power through your life. He wants people to look at you and say, only God could have done this. Your story is about to become evidence of His reality. The same people who once doubted you will witness your transformation. They will see your rise and know that faith is not a fantasy. God is using your life as a living message that obedience brings reward. But be cautious when increase arrives, so does distraction. Wealth can draw noise into your life. Many voices will seek your attention. Some will praise you, others will envy you, and a few will try to pull you off course. That is why you must stay rooted in prayer. Wealth without spiritual grounding is like a river without borders. It floods and destroys. Keep talking to God about every decision. Seek His direction in your investments, in your partnership, in your spending. God does not want you to simply have money. He wants you to have a mastery over it. True prosperity is peace, not pressure. And hear me well, you are not waiting for money. Money is waiting for you. It is waiting for your mindset to align with purpose. It is waiting for your spirit to mature into stewardship. When you finally see yourself as the vessel of God's abundance, resources will begin to chase you. The energy of faith attracts what doubt repels. The moment you start declaring, I am a carrier of divine provision, I am a vessel of God's wealth, you shift the atmosphere around you. Opportunities will begin to notice you. People will begin to trust you. Circumstances will begin to align for you. That is not magic. It is divine order responding to belief. Let me tell you another secret. God often hides wealth in work. The job you complain about might be the field where your harvest is buried. The idea you keep postponing could be the seed of your abundance. The skill you ignore might be the tool God wants to use to open financial doors. Do not despise the small beginnings. God hides big miracles inside ordinary actions. When you walk with excellence, even in obscurity, heaven takes notice. The hands that serve diligently are the same hands God fills abundantly. There is also a divine mystery in movement. When God gives you an instruction, it often looks illogical. He may tell you to give when you need to receive, to move when you want to stay, to speak when you prefer silence. But behind every instruction lies increase. The river of divine wealth flows in the direction of obedience. When you act on God's command, you activate supernatural provision. The greatest miracles in life do not happen because of knowledge. They happen because of obedience. Now listen, with your spirit, you have entered a season where things will happen. Suddenly, divine acceleration is taking place. The opportunities you were chasing will now chase you. The doors you knocked on for years will open on their own. The business you struggled to build will suddenly flourish. The relationships you need will appear without striving. This is not coincidence. It is a divine orchestration. When the heavens declare that it is your time, the earth must align. No delay can hold back what God has scheduled. And in this season, you must carry the consciousness of abundance wherever you go. Stop thinking like a beggar when you serve the Creator of the universe. Stop shrinking your dreams to fit your fear. God cannot pour greatness into small expectations. Lift your thoughts, lift your words, lift your prayers. Ask boldly, believe boldly, expect boldly, because you serve a God who gives without measure. You do not need to beg, just believe. You do not need to chase, just trust. When your heart is aligned, what is meant for you cannot miss you. Soon, you will see numbers you never imagined. You will sign contracts you never dreamed of. You will manage resources that once seemed impossible. But none of it will overwhelm you, because God will have prepared your soul to handle it. You will walk in peace amidst abundance. You will remain generous amidst success. You will remember that everything flows from the source. This is the kind of wealth that cannot be lost because it is anchored in the eternal, not the temporary. And even as your bank account fills, you will feel a deeper joy, not just in having, but in helping. You will understand the sacred joy of giving. You will feed the hungry, educate the forgotten, and empower the broken. That is how God multiplies blessings, by turning the blessed into blessings for others. You will look at the smile of someone you help and realize that this is the true meaning of wealth, to be a vessel of God's compassion expressed through provision. The time has come for the faithful to rise. God is transferring resources from the hand of those who misuse them to those who honor Him. The world is shifting. The wealth of the selfish will find its way into the hand of the righteous. And those who once struggled in silence will now rise in strength. God is creating a new flow of abundance in this generation, and you are part of it. You are not watching this by accident. You are hearing this because heaven has chosen you as a carrier of divine prosperity. Do not fear what is coming. Prepare for it. The blessing will be heavy, but you will have the strength to carry it. The abundance will be great, but you will have the wisdom to manage it. The opportunities will be many, but you will have the discernment to choose well. Because God never gives you what will destroy you. He only gives what will develop you. He fills your bank account only when He has already filled your soul with strength, humility, and purpose. So lift your head high and declare it, I am ready for divine abundance. I am ready for financial overflow. I am ready for the wealth God has ordained for me. Say it until every cell in your body believes it. Because words shape destiny. Speak wealth until it becomes your reality. Speak favor until it finds you. Speak prosperity until it overflows. You are not just hoping for blessings, you are commanding them through faith. And as you walk into this new chapter, know this truth deeply. Your abundance will glorify God, not your ego. Your wealth will testify of His goodness, not your genius. Your prosperity will point back to His power, not your plans. Because when God fills your account, He fills it so the world can see that He is still the God who provides. And no man, no system, no economy can reverse that. The divine decree has been spoken, your time of lack has ended, and your season of overflow has begun. God is about to fill your bank account, and your life will never be the same again. When God is about to release wealth into your life, He will not begin with the comfort. He will begin with the testing. Many people cry out for abundance, yet they are unaware that God does not entrust wealth to the unproven. God will not pour gold into a vessel that leaks, nor will He hand over divine resources to a heart that is still ruled by pride, fear, or greed. Before He blesses you with abundance, He must first test your spirit to see if you can carry it without destroying yourself. You see, the test always comes before the treasure. The pressure always comes before the promotion. The silence always comes before the sound of multiplication. There is a moment in every believer's life when God begins to strip away the illusion of control. He removes the false securities. He closes doors that you once thought were your lifeline. He allows certain people to walk away. He takes you into a season where your skills, your wisdom, and your strengths are not enough. And you begin to ask God, why? But the real question is not why. It is, what is God preparing me for? Because every test is proof that something greater is on the horizon. God is not trying to destroy you. He is preparing you for divine trust. Wealth in God's kingdom is not simply about money. It is about stewardship. God must first see that you can handle the invisible before He entrusts you with the visible. When God tests you before wealth, He observes your reaction to lack. Do you complain or do you praise Him anyway? Do you panic or do you rest in His faithfulness? God listens not to your words but to your attitude. Many say, if I had more, I would be more generous. But God says, if you are not generous now, you will not be generous later. Because generosity is not born in abundance, it is born in gratitude. When God tests you, He hides abundance behind adversity. He hides opportunity inside opposition. He hides increase behind inconvenience. Why? Because He wants to see if you can still believe when everything in front of you tells you not to. There is a wilderness before every promised land. And in that wilderness, God examines your heart. He watches what you do when nobody is watching. He observes your integrity when temptation whispers shortcuts. He looks at your discipline when no one is clapping. You see, wealth is heavy. It requires character to carry. If God were to bless you prematurely, the blessing could break you. So He purifies you. He refines you in the fire of hidden seasons. He delays the harvest not because He has forgotten you, but because He is strengthening your roots. The longer the preparation, the stronger the foundation. When you are being tested, it feels as if everything you touch falls apart. You pray, but the heavens seem silent. You work, but results seem delayed. You give, but the return seems hidden. Yet that is when God is closest to you. The silence of God is not His absence, it is His inspection. He is watching to see if you will remain faithful without the applause, if you will still sow when nothing seems to grow, if you will still thank Him when nothing seems to move. God used these moments to separate the seekers from the pretenders, the faithful from the fickle, the committed from the convenient. He must be certain that your loyalty is to Him, not to what He gives. Wealth is a sacred assignment. It is not given for self-exaltation, but for divine purpose. That is why the test is so personal, so intense, and sometimes so painful. God will expose every idol that hides within your heart. He will confront every dependence that is not Him. He will take you to a place where only your faith can feed you. You will stand at the edge of uncertainty, and it will seem like everything is collapsing, but in truth, everything false is collapsing so that everything real can rise. Some people cry when doors close, not realizing that the door was never meant to lead to destiny. God will close doors that lead to comfort, so He can open gates that lead to purpose. He will allow loss that feels unfair, because hidden in that loss is the seed of future increase. You may feel stripped, but you are being positioned. You may feel delayed, but you are being refined. Every time you choose to trust God instead of your fear, you pass a divine test. Every time you choose to honor God with a little, you prove that you can be trusted with much. The test of wealth is never about money, it is about mastery. Can you master your desires? Or will your desires master you? Can you stay humble when resources increase? Can you still depend on God when your accounts are full? Many pray for wealth, but forget that wealth magnifies whatever is inside you. If pride lives in your heart, money will multiply it. If greed hides within you, money will expose it. But if humility and gratitude dwell in you, wealth will become a weapon for divine good. That is why God delays some blessing until you are spiritually mature enough to use them correctly. There will be seasons when God takes you through financial dryness, not to punish you, but to teach you divine order. He teaches you to prioritize purpose over pleasure, mission over material, and obedience over opportunity. God will allow you to experience moments where everything that once worked stops working, just to show you that your true source is not a paycheck, not a business, not a connection, it is Him. When you understand that, you graduate from survival to stewardship, and stewardship is the gate to divine wealth. When God begins to test you, He will allow circumstances that seem unfair. People may misunderstand you. Your efforts may go unnoticed, but God is watching how you handle obscurity. If you can stay faithful in hidden places, He can trust you in high places. The reason some never see divine abundance is that they fail the test of anonymity. They crave recognition before they build a revelation. But God does not promote noise. He promotes faithfulness. When you learn to walk with God without needing validation, He will reveal you to the world without explanation. There is a sacred pattern in the way God promotes. First the test, then the trust, then the treasure. The test proves your dependence. The trust deepens your character, and the treasure manifests your obedience. You cannot skip any stage. If you try to grasp the blessing without passing the test, what you gain will slip away. But if you allow the process to shape you, what God gives will stay. Remember this, God's preparation always feels like isolation before elevation. In those testing moments, your prayers will shift. You will stop asking God, why me? And start asking, what are you teaching me? Because the test is never to expose your weakness, it is to reveal your readiness. When God tests you with the small assignments, He is measuring your ability to carry large responsibilities. He watches how you treat what seems insignificant. Do you serve with excellence even when it doesn't benefit you? Do you give with joy even when nobody sees it? Every unseen act of obedience is a deposit in your spiritual account. When the appointed time comes, God releases what has been stored up in your favor. You must also understand this. When God is testing you before wealth, He will allow you to witness others being blessed. This is not to provoke jealousy, but to purify it. Can you celebrate another's success without questioning your own timeline? Can you bless those who rise before you without resentment? This test reveals whether your heart can handle prosperity without comparison. God does not bless bitterness, He blesses faith. The moment you can genuinely rejoice in another's blessing, you signal to heaven that you are ready for your own. Many people abort their divine wealth because they interpret testing as a rejection. They say, God must not care for me. But they fail to see that the silence is actually His training ground. God does not build champions in comfort. He builds them in pressure. Every giant of faith has walked through the desert of delay. They learn to trust God's plan even when their emotions could not understand it. And that is the ultimate test. Will you obey God even when His process makes no sense? You see, the longer God tests you, the greater the assignment that waits ahead. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. Every tear you shed in obedience is watering the ground for your future harvest. Every disappointment is a divine redirection. Every delay is a secret investment in your spiritual maturity. God's timing is not slow, it is strategic. When He finally releases wealth into your hands, you will not only have abundance, you will have a wisdom. You will not only have a resources, you will have a revelation. And that is why the process is sacred, because it transforms what you have into who you are. When you reach the moment of divine release, you will look back and realize that what you thought was pain was protection. God was protecting you from premature exposure, from wrong alliances, from misplaced confidence. He was shielding you from the kind of success that destroys rather than builds. He was cleansing your motives, refining your focus, aligning your heart with His will. And when that alignment comes, you will no longer chase wealth. Wealth will begin to chase you because God trusts you now. So if you are in a season of a testing, do not despise it. Thank God for it. For it means He is considering you for promotion. The depth of your struggle reveals the height of your destiny. The weight of your battle reveals the size of your blessing. Every challenge is a divine classroom. Every hardship is a lesson in trust. Every closed door is a reminder that your supply comes from above. Do not measure your worth by what you have lost. Measure it by how much you have learned to depend on God. The wealth that comes from God is not only external, it is internal. It is the peace that cannot be bought, the wisdom that cannot be stolen, the confidence that cannot be shaken. And that inner wealth is what sustains the outer one. God tests you to ensure that your soul is stronger than your bank account, that your heart is deeper than your pockets, that your values are higher than your ambitions. For what use is abundance if your spirit is poor? What value is gold if gratitude is gone? God's tests are not meant to break you, they are meant to reveal you, to separate who you pretend to be from who you are called to be. When the tests come, embrace them with faith. Stand firm with gratitude. Speak words of trust when others speak of doubt, because your response determines your release. God is watching, not to condemn, but to confirm that you are ready for what you have been praying for. And when the test is complete, when you have learned to trust God in lack, when you have praised Him in silence, when you have obeyed Him without explanation, then the doors of divine wealth will open not as a surprise, but as a confirmation. You will realize that it was never about chasing the blessing. It was about becoming the kind of person who could carry it. When God begins to test you before sending wealth, He doesn't test your comfort. He tests your conviction. He doesn't test your possessions. He tests your patience. He doesn't test what you can gain. He tests what you can endure. Because true wealth is not a sudden deposit of gold or status. It is slow refining of the soul. God does not reward impatience. He rewards faith that refuses to die in the dark. If you are crying in secret, waiting for a breakthrough, understand this. The delay is not denial, it is divine development. God is shaping something in you that money could never buy. He's building the discipline that will keep you standing when wealth begins to flow. There are moments when God hides opportunities behind failure. You may lose a job, a business may collapse, or the plans you worked for years may suddenly dissolve. But that is not loss, it is repositioning. God is never subtracting. He is redirecting. He will strip away what was never yours to reveal what has always been waiting for you. Many cry when the old chapter closes, not realizing that God had to end it so He could open a greater one. Sometimes you cannot see what He's doing until you are standing in the new place He was preparing for you all along. God's test before wealth often comes through people. He will allow betrayal to expose your maturity. He will allow misunderstanding to reveal your heart. When people mistreat you, God is not showing you their weakness. He is revealing your strength. Can you stay kind when others are cruel? Can you keep your peace when others provoke you? Can you continue to walk in integrity when no one is acknowledging it? This is where many fail. They want the wealth, but they are not ready for the weight of it. For the higher God lifts you, the more grace and humility you will need to sustain it. Every test is a divine question. Can you still trust God when you do not understand Him? Can you obey without evidence? Can you continue to sow when there is no harvest in sight? Wealth requires the faith to act on unseen instruction. When God tells you to give what you need, to build what you cannot afford, or to trust when logic says it's impossible, He is not mocking you, He's preparing you. He's teaching you that obedience brings overflow, that faith brings provision, and that surrender brings security. When God begins to elevate you, He will test you with exposure. People will start noticing your gifts, your influence, your ideas, but He will watch to see if you remain humble. Pride is the enemy of divine wealth because it shifts the focus from the source to the self. God will never promote arrogance. He promotes those who recognize that everything they have is borrowed from His grace. If you can stay small in your heart while God makes you great in the world, you have passed one of the highest tests of divine trust. There will also be tests of distraction. When doors start opening, not every door is divine. Some are detours disguised as opportunities. The enemy knows he cannot stop what God has ordained, so he distracts with counterfeit success. He offers something fast, something shiny, something that looks like progress but carries no purpose. This is why discernment is part of God's testing process. Can you tell the difference between what is good and what is God? Can you walk away from something profitable if it pulls you away from peace? Wealth that costs you your connection to God is not wealth, it is a trap. When God tests you, He is not trying to find out who you are. He already knows. The test is for you to discover who you have become. Testing exposes your inner strength, reveals your hidden weakness, and prepares you for greater responsibility. You cannot conquer what you have not confronted. God will bring you face to face with your own limitations so that you may learn to lean entirely on Him. In the end, the test is never about provision, it is about perspective. If you can see God's hand in the hardship, you have already won half the battle. Many think wealth is about receiving, but in God's kingdom, wealth begins with releasing. You must release control, release fear, release resentment, release your own timing. God cannot fill what is already full. When you empty yourself of anxiety and pride, you make room for divine abundance. The wealth that God brings is drawn to humility and obedience. You cannot beg your way into divine favor. You must grow your way into it. God increases those who have learned to depend completely on Him. There is a point in every test when the pressure intensifies. That moment is not to crush you, it is to crown you. The closer you are to your breakthrough, the harder the test becomes. When it feels unbearable, that is the signal that the season of release is near. God often hides your harvest in your hardest moment. The night grows darkest right before the dawn. So when everything in you feels tired, do not retreat. Keep moving, keep trusting, keep sowing in faith, because soon the test will turn into testimony. You must also understand that the test before wealth is not only external, it happens inside your mind. God will challenge your thinking before He changes your circumstances. You cannot carry a millionaire's blessing with a beggar's mindset. You must think in alignment with the divine abundance. God tests you by allowing lack to teach you creativity, not defeat. When you are short on resources, it is because He wants to expand your imagination. He wants you to see solutions where others see scarcity. That is how you become a vessel of divine innovation. True wealth flows through mind that can think beyond the fear and act beyond the comfort. Another form of God's test comes through timing. He will make you wait, not because He is late, but because He is building endurance. Waiting is not wasted time, it is divine preparation. Many lose their blessing because they cannot handle delay. They want quick results, but quick results produce shallow roots. God wants your blessing to last, not just appear. So He stretches time to stretch your trust. When you learn to wait without complaining, when you can praise without proof, you have passed one of the hardest tests of faith. Wealth requires patience because sudden success without structure can destroy a person. God will not give you what you cannot manage. So He teaches you to organize your life while you wait. He trains you in discipline, in stewardship, in focus. Every time you plan, save, and manage your current resources wisely, you are signaling to heaven that you are ready for increase. God blesses order. He blesses those who prepare in private before He promotes them in public. There is also the test of gratitude. God watches how you respond to small blessings. If you cannot be thankful for what you have now, you will not be content with what you receive later. Gratitude attracts increase because it acknowledges the source. Every time you thank God sincerely, you multiply the energy of abundance around you. But when you complain, you repel it. Gratitude turns ordinary days into miracles. It transforms scarcity into sufficiency. It proves that your heart is ready to carry more. When God tests you, He will also test your relationship. Wealth requires wisdom in choosing who walks with you. Not everyone around you is meant to go where God is taking you. Sometimes He removes people quietly and you feel betrayed, but in truth, He is protecting you. You cannot carry divine wealth while being surrounded by those who drain your faith. God will test whether you can walk alone. If it means staying aligned with Him, He will test whether you choose peace over popularity, purpose over approval. The ability to walk alone in obedience is one of the highest qualifications for divine wealth. You must also understand that the test of wealth is the test of humility. When abundance finally begins to flow, will you remember where it came from? Will you still pray with the same urgency? Will you still give with the same passion? God's test does not end. When the wealth arrives, it begins anew. Because true wealth is sustained not by strategy, but by surrender. The same dependence that brought the blessing is what keeps it. God's testing is never to deprive you, it is to define you. He is not withholding the blessing, He is molding the vessel. If you are being stretched, it is because God sees capacity in you that you have not yet discovered. He is drawing out your hidden strength through pressure. Every challenge you face is unlocking a new dimension of endurance and faith. You are being sculpted for significance. The fire you feel now will one day be the light that guides others. When wealth finally comes, you will recognize that it was never really about the money, it was about the mission. God blesses you so that you can become a blessing. He tests you so that you can teach others how to overcome. He increases you so that you can impact generations. Divine wealth is not accumulation, it is assignment. It carries responsibility, purpose, and divine expectation. And those who pass the test before wealth are not just rich, they are trusted. So when you feel pressed, when doors close, when people walk away, do not curse the moment, thank God for it. For He is proving your faith, sharpening your vision, purifying your motives. He is removing what is temporary to prepare you for what is eternal. The test may be hard, but it is holy. It may be painful, but it is purposeful. You may not see it now, but one day you will look back and realize that every trial was a stepping stone to your divine destiny. The greatest evidence that God is about to bless you is not comfort, it is contradiction. Everything seems opposite to what He promised. Yet deep in your spirit, there is peace. That peace is the confirmation that you are exactly where you should be. God is aligning the unseen forces in your favor. He is orchestrating events, preparing people, and designing opportunities that will unfold when the time is right. And when it happens, it will not be gradual, it will be sudden. Divine wealth comes like a flood when God has finished His testing. There comes a time when God begins to test your inner strength through silence. Silence is not absence. It is sacred examination. When God hides His voice, He is not ignoring you. He is observing you. He wants to see whether your faith depends on feelings or on conviction. It is easy to trust when the signs are clear and the doors open freely. But the real test of trust begins when there are no signs, no confirmation, no visible progress. In that silence, God is whispering through circumstance, through delay, through stillness. He's asking, will you hold on to my promise even when you hear nothing? For in silence, your spiritual ears grow sharper. In silence, your dependence on God deepens. Those who cannot stand the silence are not ready for the sound of abundance, because wealth without spiritual stability will collapse under its own weight. When God tests you, He may take away everything that made you feel secure. The people you depended on may walk away. The resources you counted on may vanish. Your plans may fall apart like sand in your hands. This is not punishment, it is purification. God removes every false support so that you may discover the solid ground of His presence. He wants you to know that your true foundation is not built on connections, credentials, or possession. It is built on faith. When you finally understand that everything else can be taken, but God remains, you have passed one of the most powerful tests of divine maturity. There will also be times when the test comes through waiting. Waiting is the furnace where faith is refined. Many people fail the test of waiting because they mistake delay for denial. But God delays only to develop. He will never give a gift before the receiver is ready. If you are asking God for something that has not yet come, do not think He has forgotten you. He is preparing you. And He is preparing what belongs to you. The moment your character and your calling align, the release will come swiftly, and you will realize that the waiting was necessary. God cannot release abundance into hands that are still learning obedience. There is another level of testing that few understand, the test of exposure. When you begin to experience small breakthroughs, small moments of success, small signs of progress, God watches to see how you handle it. Do you give glory to yourself, or do you give glory to Him? Do you become careless with the principles that once kept you disciplined? Many fall when they experience early success because they begin to think they are the source of their own prosperity. God will sometimes allow you to touch the edge of success and then pull it back just to reveal your heart. If you can remain humble even when the spotlight shines, God will trust you with true greatness. You see, the journey to divine wealth is not a straight path. It is a sacred circle of testing, trusting, and transforming. Each test purifies you. Each waiting season strengthens you. Each loss redirects you. God is not interested in temporary abundance. He is shaping eternal responsibility. That is why His tests are not meant to make you famous, but to make you faithful. He knows that one faithful soul can do more with little than 100 careless ones can do with plenty. So He teaches you to value discipline over display, patience over pressure, and wisdom over waste. God also tests you through your reactions to correction. When He shows you your flaws, do you defend them or do you change? Many cry out for increase but refuse instruction. They want abundance without accountability. Yet God blesses those who listen. He will send wisdom disguised as discomfort. He will place mentors, challenges, and even failures in your path to shape your understanding. If you can humble yourself and learn from every experience, no matter how painful, you are proving that you are teachable, and teachable hearts attract transformation. Another powerful test is the test of secrecy. Can you serve God faithfully when no one is applauding you? Can you give generously without expecting recognition? Can you pray in hidden rooms when there is no audience to admire your devotion? God often measures greatness by what happens in private. What you do unseen determines what God does for you publicly. If your motives remain pure when no one is watching, if your integrity remains intact when there is no reward in sight, then you are walking in the divine pattern that precedes promotion. Sometimes God will test your relationship with wealth by letting you taste both lack and abundance. There will be days when you have more than enough and days when you have almost nothing. This contrast is divine training. In lack, He teaches you gratitude. In abundance, He teaches you stewardship. The wise understand that both seasons are necessary. The one who learns to manage scarcity will handle plenty with humility. The one who learns to share in abundance will never fear loss again. God tests your heart through your habits. How you handle what you have now reveals how you will handle more later. The tests also come through giving. God will ask you to give something precious, not because you want to take it, but because He wants to free you from it. What you are unwilling to release owns you. Every act of giving breaks the chain of attachment and teaches your spirit that nothing you possess is greater than the one who gave it. When God tests you through giving, He is measuring your trust. Can you trust that what you release will return multiplied? Can you believe that you will never lack when your heart remains generous? The truth is simple. God cannot pour into a closed hand. Sometimes God will even test your emotions. He will allow disappointment, delay, or misunderstanding to test your self-control. Wealth requires emotional maturity. If you are easily shaken by offense, easily discouraged by setbacks, or easily influenced by praise, you are not yet ready for the next level. God refines your emotions to make you steady. He teaches you to respond with wisdom instead of reaction, with peace instead of panic. True wealth is sustained by inner stability. A calm spirit is stronger than a full bank account because it cannot be stolen or corrupted. There will be moments when God tests your courage. He will ask you to take steps of faith that make no sense to human logic. He may tell you to leave what is familiar, to invest in something uncertain, or to walk away from something comfortable. These are not random challenges, they are divine invitation. God is saying, do you trust me enough to move when you cannot see? The wealth He gives is reserved for those who walk by faith, not fear. If you can step into the unknown with obedience, the unseen doors will open before you. Every test from God carries a hidden message. I am preparing you to be unshakable. Because when divine wealth comes, the world will test you again with flattery, temptation, and pride. Only those who have endured the fire of God's testing can withstand the storms of success. The process may seem long, but remember, gold cannot shine without fire, and faith cannot mature without trials. God refines you because He intends to display you. He perfects you in silence so that when the time comes, your light cannot be dimmed by circumstance. Some of the most painful tests are those that challenge your vision. God will show you glimpses of the future, but not the full picture. He gives you dreams that seem too large for your current resources. That is deliberate. He does not give you all the pieces because He wants you to trust Him for the missing parts. The distance between the vision and the fulfillment is the distance that builds a faith. The longer the wait, the deeper the roots of your trust. When you finally arrive, you will realize that the process gave you something more valuable than the promise. It gave you divine strength. When God tests you, He is writing your story of resilience. Each trial becomes a testimony. Each loss becomes a lesson. And each delay becomes a declaration of His faithfulness. You will not only receive wealth, you will carry wisdom. You will not only gain influence, you will embody integrity. Wealth without wisdom is wasted, but wealth that has been tested through fire becomes an instrument of impact. God is raising a generation of people who will use wealth as a weapon for good, as a tool for healing, and as a channel of purpose. Do not fear the tests that stretch you. They are signs that God is near. Every time you feel pressure, it means heaven is investing in your growth. Every test you pass expands your capacity for blessing. The road may be narrow, but it leads to expansion. The burden may feel heavy, but it births strength. You may feel hidden, but hidden seasons are holy seasons where God plants the seeds of greatness that will one day shake nations. The moment you stop seeing tests as punishment and start seeing them as preparation, your entire life shifts. You no longer run from difficulty, you embrace it with faith. You no longer question the waiting, you grow in it. You no longer chase wealth, you attract it by alignment. Because wealth in God's hands is not about luxury, it is about legacy. It is not about material gain, it is about spiritual authority. God tests you to ensure that when the blessing comes, it will not control you, you will control it. So, if you are being tested right now, rejoice quietly. You are not forgotten, you are chosen. You are not being delayed, you are being developed. Every hidden sacrifice, every private prayer, every act of obedience is being recorded in the invisible realm. The day will come when what was done in silence will be rewarded in sight. God's reward may not come when you expect it, but it always comes when you are ready for it. And when it comes, you will understand why He tested you so deeply, because He intended to bless you beyond measure. And so, endure with faith. Walk through the testing with your head held high. Refuse to give up. Refuse to compromise. Refuse to doubt. For the same God who tested you in the wilderness will exalt you in the harvest. The same God who took you through lack will trust you with the abundance. The same God who hid you in silence will reveal you in light. Your testing is the bridge to your blessing. Stay steadfast. And when the day comes, you will hold in your hands the fruit of your faith, a wealth that serves God's purpose, a wealth that cannot be corrupted, and a wealth that was born through the fire of divine testing.